Catherine Martindale claims her sister sold a treasured family heirloom without talking to her first. Harriet Martindale says she gave her sibling a year to pick it up and was tired of seeing the ugly clock in her home.
Ms. Martindale, you are suing your sister, Ms. Martindale, for $5,700 because that's what you had to pay to get back an heirloom clock that you feel she had no right to sell.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, tell me what happened here.
Your Honor, when we were growing up, this grandfather clock meant the world to my family. We'd had it in the family for decades and for generations. And I loved it. It's probably one of the reasons that I became a mechanical engineer.
Okay.
And when my mother died, our mother died, she willed it to both of us. And she basically sold it out from under me.
Well, let's talk about that. Your mother had died how long earlier?
About a year earlier.
All right. And the clock was at your place?
Yes.
According to her, you sold it.
I did sell it.
All right. And did you ever tell her, look, if you want it, take it?
Yes. We had a text interaction shortly after our mom passed. And she had come in for a weekend and said, oh, I want that, and I want the clock. But I can't take it because I'm traveling. Can you hold it for me? So I said, how long are you going to be gone? She said, for about a year, or just short of a year, maybe. So I said, well, okay, I will hold it for a year. So we went on with our lives. I have a husband, I have kids, I have activities, I have all kinds of things happening in my life. She was traveling for her job, and I never heard from her for a year.
Wait, you and your sister never talked to each other in the whole year?
Nope.
You're not particularly close?
When we were children, we were close, but as we became young adults, there became this pattern of me being the doormat, I felt like. As the older sister, I felt like she always got to do whatever she wanted, and I was left to kind of clean up or pick up the pieces or take care of the stupid, ugly clock.
Okay, because you didn't want to keep the clock, right?
I have a picture of this.
Let me see the clock.
Ugly
but you
clock.
didn't want to have to take care of the clock.
No, I did not.
All right. Well, then why didn't you tell her, no, I won't store it for a year?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Just because I fell into that same old pattern that we had developed as young adults of me saying okay to everything.
All right, so you said okay, and you specifically said, okay, I'll store it for a year?
Our text said...
Can I see the text?
Yeah. I said, I'll hold on to it, but you better come get it within the year.
Within the year. If you want the clock, can you come grab it soon? It takes up a lot of space. I'll take it, but I'm going to be traveling a lot for work for about a year. Wow. I don't know when I'm going to have a free weekend to come over there. Are you serious? A year? Yeah, that would be my response too. I'm sorry, the trips were already planned. Can you hold on to it for me? Fine, I'll hold on to it, but you better come get it within a year. I'm already tired of it. Okay, so why didn't you make any effort to get it out of there?
It just seemed that the year went by so quickly.
Oh, I know. But that's not
like that.
What effort did you make was my question. So why is it that you're traveling for a year means she has to be your storage room for a year or plus, because you didn't get rid of it until after the year, right?
I waited about 6 weeks, so it was about a month and a half past the year date.
Past the year date. So my point is, why would I just don't know when I'll be able to get it. Why would that mean she has to store it forever and ever?
Your Honor, I absolutely understand. What I did not know was that how much she hated it at the time.
But she told you she hated it. She says, if you want the clock, can you come grab it soon? It takes up a lot of space.
Your Honor, I was teaching. There were no breaks.
See, you're not answering me. You're explaining to me why you forgot. That's the answer to why did you forget.
You know what?
I'm sorry, stop and listen to me. It is not a matter of you putting it on your back. It is a matter of you making an arrangement to have someone else pick it up from her house. She made it very clear to you it was taking up space. She was stunned when you said a year. And then she said, fine, I'll hold on to it, but you better come get it within a year. So you had a whole year. So what effort did you make within a year to get it out?
Your Honor, I did not
zero.
call her.
Just say it. We all know the
Neither did
answer.
she call me.
Say it again?
Neither did she call me.
How many times she had to call you? She already told you had a year. Right? So you wait 6 more months, and apparently the two of you don't get along. It's not like you called her when the year was up.
No.
I cannot wrap my head around that.
Right.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
So why wouldn't you, if you knew she wanted it, text her and say, I'm going to sell the grandfather clock? What ended up happening? You ended up selling it?
I sold it for $2,100.
Oh, good Lord.
This is Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with the case of Catherine Martindale, who blames her sister, Harriet Martindale, for selling a family heirloom without asking.
Are you the only two siblings?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Wow. I've done a lot of fine things in my life, if I do say so myself. The finest thing I've ever done is raise 3 daughters who understand that they are best friends, cradle to grave.
It would be nice if we had a
Do
relationship.
you want to have one, or
I
you
would
don't really
love to have one with her, Your Honor.
How long has it been that the two of you have been so estranged?
About 3 years, I think, maybe.
Was there something that precipitated it, or?
I think that she wishes, I think that we each wish
Careful.
that we had a little bit of the other's life. And we've had some discussions about that. I think it's always greener on the other side. She sees me as you know, out there and free-willing and on my own, where I see myself as scrambling and trying to, you know, get Red 2 cents together. I know that I see her as having the house and the kids and the husband and the stable one, but she probably sees it like I sometimes think of her as a stick in the mud.
And the dumping ground, and the we'll always do the right thing, and we'll always bail you
You
out. and
always
we'll
do the right thing.
And I'm tired of it.
Okay, but don't you think that with a little communication,
That's
perhaps
the key.
Rather, well,
But
if
it
it's
has
the
to go
key,
both
why didn't you
ways.
pick up the phone and call her and tell her I'm selling it? Because you wanted to teach her a lesson?
I don't know if I wanted to teach her a lesson. I was just tired of being walked on.
So I know. Okay, that's why you sold it. It's not why you didn't place a 4-second phone call. I mean, it's a phone call. So why wouldn't you, if you knew she wanted it, text her and say, listen, I'm going to sell the grandfather clock.
I don't know.
It's because you wanted to teach her a lesson. What ended up happening? You ended up selling it?
I sold it for $2,100
Oh, good Lord.
to an antique, a person who had a storefront that dealt with refurbishing older pieces. So I figured the person that I sold it to would be somebody that would put the time and effort into it to make it not look so
Dumpy?
ugly.
Right, but you know, that has to that person who bought it, that's all that value is, but that's sentimental value to her.
Right.
And you knew that. You knew that when you sold it.
I didn't know the
And you
sentimentality
knew that if you
of
had
it.
sentimental, if you wanted it because it had sentimental value for you, then why wouldn't you make an effort to have it moved? If you know she doesn't want it there, she couldn't have been more explicit about not wanting it there.
You're absolutely right, Your
Right.
Honor. I just
So
felt that
when she says, I
would
feel
trust
like
her.
she just dumps on me, she kind of has a point, right?
She does.
So this person refurbished it, and you contacted the person she sold it to, right?
Right. Well, when she came to the house, she just popped up out of the blue
Without calling.
without calling,
Oh,
which
for
is
goodness
part
sake.
of the history. So I told her, I said, okay, I sold the clock, and I gave her half of the proceeds.
So you've already given her that money.
Well,
did
I
not
tried.
take that money.
She wouldn't take
She got pissed and threw it back at me,
Okay.
literally.
it. Yeah, she's mad.
And she said, well, where is it? And I gave her the name and the phone number of the gentleman who
How'd you
bought
feel
it.
when that happened in that encounter? How did you feel?
I was shocked, I guess.
Why were you shocked? You had told her, I don't want it. She had told you she wanted it.
Right.
I don't know where you come off getting shocked. I think you knew there was going to be a bad reaction.
So she contacted Rusty, the guy that bought it, and that's why we're here, because she ended up buying it back from him, but he had already done all of the work on it.
Did it also, Rusty didn't just like put a new coat of paint on it, right? Like he
No, Your
actually got
Honor.
it working because it wasn't working.
Which, by the way, Your Honor, I had planned to do myself.
So that's
part
money
of
you
the
were going to
joy.
spend, right?
Well, no, I would have done it
yeah,
myself.
Yeah, right. You know, but what you're suing your sister for is the entire amount that it cost you to buy it back from Rusty, even though that's not the value of it when your sister sold it. Do you understand?
Right.
If your sister did something wrong, it's that she sold it. Let's say if she did something wrong. What she did was sell it, and it is what it looked like when it was sold. It is a grandfather clock that didn't work and was in very bad shape. It is not a beautiful, brand new, refurbished grandfather clock, which is what you're suing for. All right. I find that you are entitled to half of what the clock was worth. The best evidence of that is exactly what Rusty paid for it, to make it unrusty and to make it a nice working piece of art that it is now. I'm glad that you have it because you want it. I think that the $4,000 extra you paid to have it refurbished, part of that was money you were going to spend anyway, and it would have been cheaper to get movers and put it in a storage space, or at least be cognizant of how much time had passed, or at least, I don't know, call your sister. All right, but I am ruling that you are entitled to $1,050 of it because Mom left it to both of you. That is my verdict.
All rise.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $1,050.
She is my sister, and I do love her. So we'll have to get past this. I'll have to get past this.